Right, good morning. Did you know that green space accounts for just under 20% of Cambridge's land area, and yet is one of the key contributors to the success of our city as a place to live, work and visit? This morning I will share with you my thoughts on what I see are the key issues facing our city's green spaces in the context of planning for movement and growth. So I'm Carre, and for 20 odd years I've been working in green space management in both the public and voluntary sectors. I currently work as Head of Environmental Services at Cambridge City Council, so I'm responsible for a range of frontline services, including our Parks and Open Spaces service. So in this 15-minute presentation, I will provide you with an overview of our green spaces in the city and the benefits and functions that they provide and bring to the city and contribute to the city's success. I will also provide you with some of the key issues as I see them, which I feel we need to address in our spaces and movement planning to enable us to successfully accommodate growth. So first of all, a bit of an overview of green spaces in Cambridge. So as I say, our green spaces basically account for 17% of our city's land area. Just to put that in context, Oxford, we're just above Oxford, Oxford's 14%, just below Worcester, Worcester's 21%. So our green spaces are a very precious and vital resource. They're a legacy of planning investment which has taken place over 1,000 odd years, and as a result we have a diverse range of spaces across the city, both in public and private ownership, ranging from our ancient commons, our Victorian parks, like Cherry Hinton Hall, college grounds and playing fields, neighbourhood recs and play areas, and of course our own private gardens. Our green spaces are what make the city special and are key to the city's success and our high quality of life. As a city council, we are responsible for about 30% of the green space within the city. And that includes our main city centre parks like Parker's Peace, Jesus Green, Lammasland, which serve a wide catchment beyond the local area. We have 20 plus allotments, 80 plus play areas, a handful of nature reserves, a very wide range of diverse and valuable spaces across the city. And as a council, we are committed to protecting and enhancing our green spaces and ensuring that they continue to meet the needs of our city and our community. Our city's green spaces fulfil a range of functions and deliver a valuable range of economic, social and environmental benefits for us and for our community. Leisure and recreation, important places for us to relax, unwind, exercise, enjoy nature. All of that has positive benefits for our health and well-being, both physical and mental. They are spaces which we share, which we come together as a community and enjoy. So through the events that we provide and the activities that take place on our spaces, it brings communities together, the diverse communities that we have as a city. So it's important in terms of community building and community cohesion, and obviously creating a sense of community identity. They also provide a source of food. Obviously through allotments, that's very obvious, but we have cattle grazing, quarter mile from the city centre. So these spaces fulfil a range of functions. Flood protection. So our green spaces help to provide a natural filter for water, surface water, that if the spaces weren't there and they were tarmacked over, would end up causing flooding and other problems. So they provide natural flood storage and flood protection for our communities. They also help, particularly through the trees that are on them, with air quality, so filtering out pollutants in the air. They help also with air temperature. So in the summer they provide shade, they have a cooling effect. They're also home for a wide range of plants and wildlife. So we need to remember that we these spaces also fulfil functions not just for us, but also for the wildlife that we share this earth with. And it's in particular in an urban setting for pollinators, for our bees, which help ensure that, I don't know what that means.
Sorry.
So yes, really important that we also make a place for wildlife in our spaces. And finally, for our local economy. The attractiveness of our spaces helps to attract the businesses that come to Cambridge, because they're great places for their staff to live and bring up families and enjoy. They're also important for our tourism sector. We have 7 million visitors a year coming to Cambridge. The quality of our spaces, our public realm, is part of that attraction. And then finally, individually, I think it's really important that these spaces are there to inspire, to uplift, to stimulate, to surprise, and to educate. And certainly, as someone who works in the city, unfortunately I don't live in the city, but I work in the city, I really do enjoy travelling through the city and enjoying what I got to see in our parks and open spaces. So, moving on then, so what are the key issues, as I see it, for our green spaces in terms of our movement planning and supporting growth? Well, we're a compact city with few opportunities to create additional green space, certainly within the city. Obviously on the outskirts there's additional green space being created as part of the new developments that are happening on our fringes. So we need to make sure we make the most of the green spaces that we have. Basically ensuring that they fulfil or continue to fulfil the needs of the community, and those needs will change over time, and to ensure that they are of a high quality. This can be done by using a set of design principles, and some of you may well be familiar with an organisation which ceases to exist but has done some great work, Carre, the Commission for Architecture and the Built Environment. Really worth looking at their publications, lots of good stuff there. And they basically identified a number of key design principles that basically good quality green spaces need to follow. First of all, sustainability, both in terms of the management, design and resourcing. Secondly, character and distinctiveness, creating a sense of place. Thirdly, connectivity and accessibility, creating a network. Fourthly, adaptability and resilience, being able to adapt to changes that are happening in the environment, so climate change, or changes that are happening in terms of the needs of the community that those spaces are serving. Inclusiveness, so a shared space for all. Maximising biodiversity, so making a home for wildlife and plants, as well as for people. And finally, multifunctionality, basically making sure that these spaces are delivering a range of benefits, social, economic and environmental. The second key issue is about engaging the community in our green space planning. This is about harnessing the skills, experience, knowledge and, more importantly, the time that people have to get involved with the planning and the management of our green spaces. Volunteers, friends groups, civic pride campaigns. Is that a prompt? Thirdly, joined up strategic planning. So this is about integrating the various plans that we've got going on in terms of spaces and movement and green infrastructure, making sure that they link together and support one another. It's also about integrating Cambridge City with its rural hinterland, the new satellite communities that are springing up outside of the city with the growth that's happening, so Northstowe, Waterbeach, Bourne. Looking at how we link those using green infrastructure back into the city so that we've got a network for walking, cycling, movement between those communities and the city which is sustainable and which is multifunctional, making the use of our natural resources, our green spaces and the green space between the city and those communities. So it's looking at creating green corridors that that link these communities with the city that are multifunctional. More specifically, and I think the prompt was to be thought-provoking in this presentation, here's a thought. A nice community woodland encircling Cambridge, which people can access and enjoy from the city and from the outlying communities. The government's environmental strategy for the next 25 years highlights the importance of trees, community woodland, making the best use of our countryside and our farmland and looking at alternative uses for it that would better serve the community. As a city, we don't have large areas of woodland, either within the city or in close proximity. A community woodland is one idea that would help and would fit within a green infrastructure plan. So, to finish with a quote, so John Ruskin, a leading Victorian art critic and social thinker, the measure of any great civilization is in its cities, and the measure of a city's greatness is to be found in the quality of its public spaces, its parks and squares. So our green spaces have played and will continue to play a critical role in shaping the success of Cambridge as a city and as it continues to grow and develop, keeping it special and enhancing our quality of life. Thank you.